First question. I am very new to meditation and have been recently exploring it. During today's meditation, I found it really hard to stay still and keep my mind blank. What are some things you suggest I can do at this point to get better at this? You mentioned that you found it hard to sit still and keep your mind blank. Meditation is not to keep your mind blank. How can you keep your mind blank? Well, meditation is to sit still, yes. If you know how to cross your leg, of course you cross your leg. You don't necessarily have to cross your leg. You can put both legs on the floor and both hands on the kneecaps, straighten your back and relax, and then start to meditate. But meditation is not to keep your mind blank. How can you keep your mind blank? How do you know your mind is blank? How can the mind be blank? The mind is always 24 hours non-stop. The mind is also working even when you are sleeping. We call that a dream. Your mano consciousness is still working. All the other consciousnesses at the front end could be taking a break, but the other sixth sense, the mano, the sixth sense, the seventh sense, the manas consciousness, and the alaya consciousness, they're always working. So in other words, your consciousness is non-stop. It will not end. So the meditation, first of all, is to understand yourself, to know that your mind is working all the time. When your mind is working, sometimes it wanders in every direction. You want to put your mind under control. The mind is like a monkey. The monkey is always going out in every direction, jumping from one branch to another. The branch of greediness, the branch of hatred, the branch of violence, the branch of disappointment, fear, anxiety, you name it. They're all jumping all over the place. So in other words, you have to create your object of concentration, right? The object of concentration, for example, during meditation is, I want to concentrate at the nose tip. I want to visualize myself as a molecule inside my nostril, feeling the air in and out, anapana, anapana, in and out, in and out. I want to take that as my object of concentration. That means I want to leash up the monkey and put it here. I want to have only one object. I don't want to have too many objects. Right now, everybody has a lot of objects to which they roam around. My eyes have the object of matter. When I see this flower, that's my object. When I see you, you're my object. So I have millions of objects. I roam my mind too. Not just the eyes, my ears at the same time have objects. I heard someone shouting, I heard some music, I heard someone talking, I heard criticism, I heard praise. So I have a lot of objects. When I'm eating, what's my object? My tongue has an object too. My tongue reacts to the taste. Oh, it's bitter, it's sour, it's sweet. And at the same time, I have other objects. So you have millions of objects working on you, and sometimes you're buried in those millions of objects. And sometimes you feel enchanted by these things, and you may go into the wrong direction. When you were eating, or you saw a handsome guy coming by, tall and smart, and you're being attracted to him. And all of a sudden, this sensuous thought in your mind comes into your mind, other than the other objects that you have. You're going for Christmas shopping, and you don't have enough money, and people are not around, then your object will be the greediness to attract you to shoplift from it. So there's so many things we do. Somebody is cursing and yelling at you and criticizing you, you dislike it, you hate it. So your object of hatred, that creates your object of hatred. In other words, when all your six senses react to the environments, at the same time there are mental afflictions, feelings arise at the same time. Like what? Like the officers helping the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister itself is the consciousness. By itself, it cannot work. It has to have all these other ministers, all these other officers helping him to come up with that. Hatred, jealousy, and all that. And he will perform accordingly through speech, through thought, and through action. Meditation is to eliminate all these millions of objects and make it just one. Make it easier to handle. Make your mind familiar with this. So I want to have that object. The object is here, the nose tip. So you simplify everything with one object. That means I can hold on the monkey and put it in front of me. But that still doesn't work because the object, you will lose the object every now and then. Maybe after 5 minutes you lose the object, you think about, oh, I forgot I have turned on my headlight. I forgot to turn it off. Oh gee, when I come out to the parking lot, oh, it would be terrible because I have to charge with the battery. I have to call CAA. Is that CAA? CAA? I have to call. All kinds of thoughts come up in your mind. Your body is meditating, but your mind is millions of miles away. You're out in the parking lot looking for a phone call to the CAA. So your mind is not here. It's not under your control. You've got to put your mind under control. Why did a person commit criminal offense? First question asked, why do you do it? Why do you kill him? I don't know. I wasn't like that. I didn't know why I killed him. Why do you do that? It's not under you're not under your own control. You think you can control your mind? Not. So you have to be mindful. You have to be mindful of whatever you're doing. You have to be mindful that you're not stealing. You have to be mindful that you're not raping. You have to be mindful that you are not lying, cursing, commit sexual misconduct, killing. You have to be mindful of all these deeds that you shouldn't be doing. Can you be mindful of that? We cannot. We have to train ourselves. The Buddha gave us a skillful means of training. The Buddha said, you've got to understand it first. You've got to be your own master. No other master, not God. God is not your master. You are the master yourself. You create your own destiny. You create your own fate with your own hands. Don't blame God for what you've suffered. Don't praise God for what you have obtained. You did it yourself. You're responsible for that. What's more logical than that? So you've got to put everything under control. Now, that's the method. Not just putting your mind blank, you still have an object. That object is in and out breath. I'm a molecule inside my nose tip. I'm feeling the air in. Oh, it's cold air. The air out is warm air, and I count 1. Second breath, I count 2. Third breath, I only count the in breath, not the out breath. And when I count up to 10, I go back to 1 again. Why do I do a counting? Because I don't want to leave my breath. This is a method used to eliminate all millions of other objects. This is a method used that you're familiar with your own mastering of your own mind. That, in North America, for a positive thinking trainer, that's concentration. Whatever the mind can concentrate, the mind can do. If you concentrate to do bad deeds, your mind concentrates enough, you can do bad deeds. Good deeds, you can do good deeds. But the power comes from concentration. What differentiates an A student and a fail student? The A student can concentrate a lot faster, a lot more than the fail student. What differentiates a smart kid from a very foolish kid? It's the power to concentrate. The foolish kid cannot sit around. He's moving around all the time. He cannot concentrate. But the smart kid can just sit there, open that page, and he can read a page in a minute. He's an A student. When an employee can concentrate on his work, he becomes an A employee. So with the Buddha, it's nothing more than giving you a way of living, a way of understanding yourself, a way of training up yourself to better yourself. It's not about God. Don't get it wrong. It's not about blessings. It's about you, about how you create your own life. It's a style of living, a way of living. And many people don't know about it. They just go around and do what they want to do, and they don't know how to do it. They just bury themselves in bad deeds. How many people really come back and say, oh, that's an intelligent approach to the way of living. I got to understand myself. I got to have confidence. I got to have this concentration. Not just for myself. I want to tell all my folks that they should live that way of living. When you're in the process of concentrating yourself, given the foundations of morality, you're in the process of what? Giving yourself a foundation of morality. Of course, if you use concentration to do bad deeds, like Hitler is very intelligent, but is using his concentration to do the bad deeds in the Second World War. Whereas the Buddha is concentrating it and using his concentration to teach others to concentrate based on the foundation of morality. Hitler is based his foundations on what? Atrocity, authority, suppression, greediness, occupation, dominance. Which way you prefer? So you gotta have, other than the concentration, you gotta have this foundation of morality. We call that precept. So there are the three columns of the Buddha's teaching: morality, concentration, and wisdom. It's not enough just to have concentration, because you have the power, you can destroy, but if you have the power, you can also create. Which one you want? Would researching and studying the family tree help someone find out why they are here or understand their karma? Well, I think you're partially right. So if I am Mr. A, if my last name is Mr. A, and then say, just take for instance, I am a multi-billionaire, and I want to know, how come I am so rich and other people, many other people are so poor? Maybe I should trace it karmically. So I started to do a family decision tree. Oh, my father, what did my father do? Oh, since birth, my father has been teaching me how to do business. And my father was a philanthropist, helping a lot of people, and he trained me to be what I am today. So my father must have created some good karma before. Otherwise, my father could have been a convict. My father was a charitable guy, so my decision tree is my dad, charity, morality. My dad's been doing that. So maybe he bestowed it to me. And then my dad goes up to my grandfather. And then you can start to analyze these things. And you know, wow, there's causality in it. There's a reasons for everything. But how far can you go? Do you understand your granddad? You may not even have seen your granddad. How can you do a decision tree? Your questions induce us to think. So that means there's a correlation among things. There's a causality in the decision tree. Now you're asking that question, that means you understand or you may believe in causality, correlation. You believe that one is related to the other and the other is related to the other. There's correlation. There are causes for it. And I think that's enough, because you can't go too far in your decision tree. But I can tell you, you can use this decision tree effectively in your present life. How do I do that? Okay, let's just take for instance, I want to open a restaurant, a vegetarian restaurant. That's my objective. And then I draw a decision tree. I draw a line up, which is one level up. I say, do I have a plan? And in this plan, I do it horizontally to have my decision tree. Do I have the financing? Do I have the manpower? Do I have the expertise? What is my location? Where do I pick my location? How do I get extra help? Oh, this is decision tree. Don't really have to go back to your grandfather. Just use this as your decision tree. Don't give up on decision trees. There you got the power, you got the confidence. Build up the confidence. Don't self-degrade yourself. You have that power. That's what Buddhism is all about. The Buddha said, you have that potential not just to be successful. You have that potential to be the Buddha. What is the definition of a Buddha? Bud is complete understanding. The is the person who has achieved complete understanding of the universe. That's Buddha. He's not God. He won't say, I am the Buddha, I created you. I am the God. I am the Supreme. No, no. The Buddha never said that. The Buddha said we are equal. I don't know what is more equal than the Buddha saying. I think it's more equal even than the American Charter. We're all created equal. But some are more equal than the others. Oh, we believe it? We're all created equal, but some are more equal than the others in actual life. But the Buddha said everybody is equal because you become the Buddha. You can even be the Buddha, not to say a structural engineer. So I suggest people start Buddhism at a young age. You should educate your kids accordingly. Don't wait until they become adults. Start to educate with the Buddha's teaching. It's never too late. Did I just mention about that Iron Man who started to register with university at 75, 72? He graduated at 76. Now he's taking another course. He'll graduate at 79. So when you're 65, you would talk of retiring already? Or you would talk of, I'm too old, I'm 32, I can't go to university. People go to university at 75. They may drop their admissions requirement for them. I don't know. Was it true? If you're 75, you go to UBC and say, I don't have an admission requirement, I cannot be admitted, but I want to study. Would they give you the chance?
65 and older, you attend classes for free.
Yeah, but you don't have a degree though.
You don't have a degree.
See? So they're still attached to material. They thought that you can use that degree to do whatever you want to do. So you can attend classes, you'll be listeners. You don't have to pay. Well, I didn't know about that. Maybe I should attend some courses. Huh? Well, okay. Since we choose life, are we also allowed to end life? My daughter has ALS. She can still see, eat, think, and she cannot use her body, legs, arms, and to communicate. We use the alphabet to spell the words. She is angry and frustrated and has decided to go off the oxygen, which helps him breathing, which help her breathing. Is she cutting off her karma early? Should one of us ask her to think it over, one more time? She has set the date for November 15. If this will happen, when should the cremation take place? Well, it's sad to hear about that. You must have gone through a lot. But let me tell you, everybody is having his own karma. And when you haven't served the karma, it's just like you haven't served the full sentence. If you are sentenced to 25 years imprisonment, then you got to serve that term. Of course, in actual life, you can deduct holidays and all that, but assuming the 25 years, you have to serve it through. When you have served your karma, that means you're free. But if you're not due yet, and if you want to end your karma, you may have to serve it again. Of course, if you end up your karma prematurely, you may eliminate some of the difficulties and inconveniences of your relatives who are looking after you, but then you may have to serve it again. You may have to serve the same karma again. So I don't know if it should be natural. I remember 2 years ago, I was in Hong Kong and I was asked by a lady who was a Buddhist for help. Her mother had already spent about 6 months in hospital on oxygen and in a private room. So every day it's about $50,000. Every day Hong Kong dollars, $50,000, to keep her in hospital, and she's been there for a few months already. And the daughter wanted me, the lady wanted me to go up there and see if I can give her some lecture, whispering on her ear, close to her ears, to explain to her what happened, maybe to comfort her, to soothe the situation. So I went up there and I talked to the lady, and using the Buddhist teaching, and afterwards I gather about 5 or 6 Buddhists to chant the Siddhikapa Sutra. And 2 days later, she passed away. And it became a miracle for her. To me, it could be just coincidental. The lady said, "Oh, you're powerful. Oh, she's been in hospital for a few months, and 1 or 2 monks went up there also to say prayers and talk to her. Nothing worked, but you went up there on Friday, and Sunday evening she passed away." I said, it could be a coincidence. Don't think that I have supernatural power. I don't have such supernatural power. It could be because it is from my heart. And when I went over there, it's really from my heart that I advise her to not to attach to anything and just leave everything and leave the body. Don't attach to it. And I don't know, you're saying that you're using alphabets. She could not listen, right? She cannot use her body. I don't know if she can listen to you or spell out the words. She's angry and frustrated. Maybe you should be aiming at talking to her not to raise the anger and the frustration using the alphabets. And I think Lee, was there an incident that there was a doctor who had been in the hospital for a while?
12 years.
For 12 years? He couldn't speak? Why don't you give a story on what you have done in that case?
Well, he had suffered a stroke. He was a highly accomplished professor of botany at UBC. He had suffered a stroke, and it closed his throat off to the point where he couldn't swallow. He couldn't even drink water, let alone eat food. So everything went in the side, injected into his side through a pipe into his stomach. So for 12 years, he was living like that. And he wouldn't go. He was still very attached to here. He had a lot of family concerns, and every time he would try to go, he would bring himself back. So the family asked the temple if someone could go to see him, and the nuns couldn't go. So I went, and I paid him 3 visits, and after 3 visits, he passed.
Good.
He passed happily.
Yeah.
He met again with his family. He made peace with everyone, and he was able to pass.
Did he talk to you?
He did.
Oh, he still can talk.
He could talk.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't understand him very well. His voice was very harsh, and couldn't speak loudly. I had to get close to listen to him, but I shared the Dharma with him. And that was what he asked for. And the last time I was there, he pretended he was asleep. And I came in and I sat beside him. And I went into meditation. And I stayed with him for a half hour. And then the nurses came in to give him some treatment. And he sort of made like he was waking up. And he looked at me, and then he looked at the nurses. And he pointed to me and he said, "He has to go." And based on our conversations...
You mean you have to go? Yeah.
And based on our conversations, I thought, oh, this is a positive sign.
Yeah.
He is seeing me as knocking on the door, reminding him it's time to go. So I left, and I thought, this is good. I didn't have a doubt in my mind. And then I heard later from his friend, his friend asked him, well, why did he come in and just sit there? And his friend said, well, he was meditating to be with you, to help you. So he invited his family to come. Good relations all around. I encouraged him to do that. Maybe when he's pointing his finger at you, he said, he has to go, that means because I have to go and you don't have to come back anymore. You have to go, and I don't want to prevent you from doing your more important work. You have to go because I'm okay now. So he left. So I think let karma be naturally coming to its end.
When people are hospitalized and on life support, my mother does not want life support. She wants to go naturally. So from a Buddhist perspective, would that not be, there's no right or wrong way?
No, you mean your mom did not want the support, medical support?
No.
She did not want medical support. She just want to go naturally. Well, it's natural. But if, say your mom said, I want medical support, that is also okay because she wants it. Maybe that's part of her karma that she has medical support. Everything is causality, yeah?
I visited that patient in question, the one who's talked about. I've made quite a few visits with her, and
With her?
with this person
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the hospital, yeah. And there was a patient next door.
Are you talking about the man or
This woman that was lying in bed with ALS.
Yeah, yeah.
I visited her.
You visit her, yeah.
Yeah, and next door there was another patient with the same condition, and that family asked if I would come in and visit. So I went in, and it was very challenging because it was spontaneous. So the whole family was there. Many people were in there, and they were concerned about her. She had already made the decision, no life support. She wanted to go on her own. But everybody was concerned, and with concentration and focus, I was able to make a connection with her, and I could see that she was okay in her mind. And I said that to her. I said, "You're okay, aren't you?" And she gave me every indication, yes, and a tear came down her eye. Yes.
She says she's okay and she didn't want any support.
I said this to her family.
Yeah.
Everybody was happy. The mood lifted in the room.
Yeah.
Everybody.
The atmosphere was very good in the room, yeah.
She felt good. She transitioned quite quickly.
Oh, but at that time, was it cut off already?
Yeah, it was cut off.
It was cut off.
She made that decision. So she suffered. She tolerated the suffering that goes along with that and met a natural end without life support. So she met her karma.
Yeah, maybe she make a decision to end the support is the karmic tendency itself. Maybe she comes to a point that she already have served it, and cutting it off is the way to go. I don't know. Nobody knows.
The
Yeah.
Buddha spoke about it a couple of times. There were people in his time who were suffering terribly, and his encouragement was, if you have got everything in mind sorted out, you leave without regret, without anger, without bitterness, with peace of mind, you can transition to release yourself from suffering.
Yeah, that means you already have served everything.
Yeah.
You know your time to go. So you already have laid away, you have eliminated your anger, your frustration. Maybe on that date you said, I have no more frustration, no more anger on that date.
At the very least, positive, wholesome seeds form by a consciousness.
Yeah. And then it says also, there's no what will happen, when should the cremation take place? The cremation should take place 7 days after the death. 7 days after death. So talking about this, should we all strive for spiritual development and not attach to material anymore? What's the point? What's the point to be greedy, to be frustrated, to be selfish, to be egoistic, where you can explore the spiritual development and get into your enlightenment? Maybe all, yeah?
Well, it's possible to be successful in business and a rich spiritual life.
Yes. Yeah. It's possible to be successful in your business. But if you are successful in your business, depends on what means you're achieving that. Because that's a very general yes. But if you are successful, becoming successful in your business through illegal means or through means that are egoistic and hurting others, well, you're contradicting yourself.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
Yeah.